The 2014 season was frantic to say the least, and the championship went right down to the final race at Donington Park, where Joe Fulbrook was crowned 2014 champion, and that made it 3 championships in the bag for him. But obviously 3 times is not enough, because this year Joe is back and he wants to get his hand on that trophy once again.
It's always difficult every year. It's never been any different the way the guys and myself operate. We try and move things on. So it'd be difficult. There's a lot of good drivers here now. Lot of good cars actually. I think to get in the top 3 or 4 of this championship is pretty good these days. So you know, that's always our aim. Obviously our aim is to win, but you know, you can't always win. So you know, top 3 or 4 is a good result.
So Joe Fulbrook may be the reigning champion, but it's not a given that this will be his season, because there are plenty of talented drivers out there looking to give him a run for his money.
2013 champion and 2014 runner-up Aaron Mason returns to the fray, driving his Sirocco R. After 2 race victories last year, David Sutton is certainly a man to watch. But the bookies' favourite has to be 3 times champion Joe Fulbrook, returning to the series once again.
It's time for the first race of the 2015 Volkswagen Racing Cup season, and Oulton Park is looking glorious, but a little bit cloudy. Now, how are we looking for the lead? Well, as you can see, David Sutton is on pole. Howard Fuller is tucked in just behind him. But what about Joe Fulbrook? Well, he has got his work cut out for him, as he is all the way back there in 11th. It's race on.
The opening round of the Miltech Sport Volkswagen Racing Cup set to get underway here at Oulton Park. A full grid, 20 minutes of action. David Sutton creeps and stops, the lights go out, away they go. Does David Sutton convert pole position into the race lead? Yes, he does, and there's mayhem in the background. Look, there are cars facing the wrong way already. Big drama, and in the middle of all of that, Cameron Thompson's car that somehow has been turned around. Also involved, you can see Simon Andrews with the police liveried car, and that surely is going to be a race stop. Yes, the lights flash red, the race is being stopped, and that was a very short-lived for the championship season, and you can see why Simon Andrews' car ain't going anywhere. Disabled driver Simon Andrews, the marshal's there with his wheelchair to help him off the grid, but it's the rear suspension that's been ripped off the car that's going to take some shifting. So the grid reforms. We're down to 15 minutes then for this restarted race, and hopefully they're going to be better behaved. Lights out, David Sutton blasts away from pole position. Again, the yellow flags wave as there are 1 or 2 slow away at the back. Indeed, there's 1 car stranded, but Sutton leads from Howard Fuller. Aaron Mason third as they dive through Old Hall Corner for the first time. The field heads off down towards Cascades, so David Sutton leads the way. He won the Team Hard Scholarship to come into this championship 2 years back. Chris Paniotto in his black Sirocco turns through just ahead of Jack Walker-Tully, number 1. You can see on the rear of the car Joe Fulbrook, the reigning champion. He's got a lot of work to do after a pretty ropey qualifying by his high standards. Joe McMillan in number 9, another quick driver joining the Sirocco ranks this year. The championship really has become this split between the Golf and the Sirocco. Chris Paniotto up the inside of Jack Walker-Tully. The 2 Siroccos switch around. For the first time, the race leaders work their way on towards Britons. Through the left, the right, the left, and then it'll be over Hilltop, down towards Hislops. Let's have another look at the start. Lights out, David Sutton, a tremendous getaway, charges off the line. And he now is building that gap over the opposition. 33, Lucas Orrock looking to gain ground up the inside of Howard Fuller, and he goes through. Lucas Orrock had his first year in car racing last season and went to the last round as a potential champion. He's back this year, and once more he's going to start as very much a man to watch. He's working his way up towards the pointy end of the grid now. He's got past Howard Fuller, sometime touring car racer. Former champion Phil House is there, and this is the move. Lucas Orrock, in fairness, given a lot of racing room by Howard Fuller. He needed no second invitation. Big moment there going off the road. That is Michael Epps. Thankfully, he's not taken anybody with him, but that was a wild old ride. The race leaders come down towards Hislops, and it's game on for second place. Aaron Mason versus Lucas Orrock. former champion Mason, who has won more races in this championship than anybody else, and he's got Lucas Orrick right up behind him. Orrick started on the second row of the grid. It wasn't a great getaway. Now, therefore, he's having to make amends for that, but he's pretty much back where he started. Third on the grid, third in the race. Next little battle comes towards us, and there is Joe Fulbrook at the back of it, on the tail of this man, Jack Walker-Tully. A replay of Michael Epps. He dives up the inside of Mark Smith. He gets it all wrong. It's a big lose. He's not the windscreen wipers on with all the arm twirling inside the car, and eventually the rear end gives up the unequal struggle of trying to find some traction and just loops itself around. Lead us through down towards Old Hall. Now, how many more laps can they squeeze in these 15 minutes? Lucas Orrick is so busy now having to defend his third place from Howard Fuller. Aaron Mason is given a rather easier time of it up front. Mason is second, and all the while David Sutton looks as though he's going to open his account in fine style. The rest of the pack diving down towards Lodge Corner. Number 40 Simon Tomlinson ahead of the orange Sirocco of Mark Smith. Next in the queue is the white Golf of Philip Morris, and there 31 Matthew Wilson. He's also trying to gain ground as they head up out of Dearly. If anything, though, Wilson is under attack. Look at the back of this group. Number 69, the Sirocco of Mark Kleins, switching away from Golf to Sirocco power for this year. And the Mancunian hunting down this man, Matthew Wilson. Chris Paniutu off the road in a big way. That, I think, is a shell. He's gone and headbutted the tyre barrier, and that could not only be the end of the race, but the weekend for him. There are 2 more races to come this weekend, but a lot of damage to Paniutu's car. Mark Smith in 77, the orange Sirocco, is one of those heading to the incident zone, and this is what happened. Paniutu dives up the inside of Jack Walker-Tully, gets himself on the marbles, can't slow down in time, and bang, head on into the tyre stack. Race leaders come through. 33, Lucas Orrick under attack for third place. Howard Fuller up the inside, they touch. This could end badly. Lucas Orrick gets away with it, tries to take the line for the corner. They almost lean on each other once more. Howard Fuller in the 22 Golf has the inside line going into Denton's. He's on the outside line for Cascades. Can he go round the outside? Yes, he can. 12 months ago, Howard Fuller left Oulton Park in an ambulance, having to be taken to hospital after a big crash on the start line. 12 months on, he's racing really hard. He's back up into third place, and 33, Lucas Orrick, slips back into fourth spot. Out of Shell Oil's corner they come once again. That little battle has delayed them enough, though, to mean that the top 2 are well clear. I can't now see Fuller in the white Golf there with the green stripes getting back onto terms with those ahead of him, especially as the clock is ticking away. We're almost at the end of these 15 minutes for the first round of the championship now. So David Sutton it is who leads the way. They work their way down towards Hislops. And for the final time, Aaron Mason is second here, third Howard Fuller keeping Lucas Orrick at bay here in the Sirocco. But it looks as though David Sutton is going to open his account in fine style. A win in the opening round of the championship as the cars now work their way up towards Druids. David Sutton with this tremendous start to the championship year, though, set for honours in race 1 of 3 here at Oulton Park this weekend. Lucas Orrick running fourth there as he comes out of Druids. But down towards Lodge Corner for the final time. Checkered flag is going to be at the ready. And although they're bunching up a little, second right back to fifth, David Sutton is the man of the moment at Oulton Park. He powers his way out of Dearly, checkered flag at the ready. David Sutton scores victory. Aaron Mason comes through for second, and then it's Howard Fuller just fending off Lucas Orrick, and the blue Sirocco in the background is Joe McMillan, who will be fifth, and Joe Fulbrook will round out the top 6. But David Sutton it is who claims honours in round 1 of the championship. So David Sutton fends off Aaron Mason. Howard Fuller is on the podium third ahead of Lucas Orrick and Joe McMillan. Behind Joe Fulbrook, Lee Allen and Jack Walker-Tully.
Fantastic race. Qualifying went perfectly. We managed to get that one fast lap in, and we knew from that we were going to have good race pace, and it just showed there. We led from the first lap and wasn't touched from there onwards.
After a despondent qualifying session when we flat spotted 2 of our limited tyres, luckily we've got a good start on that restart. But yeah, lucky to get that start, and the guys squabbling behind me did sort of give me a bit of space, and couldn't catch David Sutton. He was very quick, and fair play to him, well done to him.
A great way to start the championship year. 2 more races to come after the break.
JB Weld has been developing epoxy adhesives, putties and thread lockers for over 40 years and has become a staple of the repair professional and DIY enthusiast's toolbox. With over 20 specialist adhesive products in the JB Weld range, there is always a JB Weld product for the job. From wood to metal, glass to plastic. No matter if you have a small repair or large project, there is a JB Weld solution. So, if you need to make a repair that lasts, then you need JB Weld. Visit jbweld.co.uk to find your local stockist.
We're all gonna die! It's true, we are all gonna die. And Royal London are experts in dying. It's why they started in 1861. So everyone could afford a decent send-off. Take death life cover for over 50s. You could leave your loved ones cash sum to help with funeral costs, or as a gift when you're gone. And there's guaranteed acceptance for 50 to 75-year-olds. If you're halfway through your policy's term and you need to stop paying your premiums, at least half your cash sum will still be paid out on death. It's called protected payout. No other over 50s provider can make that promise.
Do I get a free pen?
Sorry, Rita. Free pens just ain't their style.
Oh.
Even if you die nowadays, Royal London will treat you with the good old values of the past. Call 0800 500 3344 or put royallondon.com over 50s into your browser thing.
A great offer usually means there's limits to what you get. Well, not anymore. Plusnet are making a stand. Right now, get totally unlimited broadband free for 12 months when you take line rental. Now that's a deal. Get unlimited broadband free for 12 months. Now that's how you do unlimited. Hurry, get unlimited broadband free for 12 months, now with £50 cash back until the 21st of April. Call 0800 313 4444. Plusnet will do you proud.
Vote on one issue this election. Me.
Where do I stand on the issues? Right here.
This election should be fought on issues, and these two definitely have issues.
Vote for your favorite M&M on Facebook.
Welcome back to Oulton Park here in Cheshire. We're getting ready for round 3 of the Miltech Sport Volkswagen Racing Cup. Cars making their way round to the grid under very sunny skies with a big crowd on hand. First though, let's quickly catch up on what happened in race 2 earlier on in the day. Howard Fuller made a slow start as the cars accelerated towards Old Hall Corner for the first time. It was Joe McMillan who made a great start to lead around the outside. Mark Klein's locked up as the cars went through Cascades, and Lucas Orrick and Joe Fulbrook nearly fell out at Lodge Corner. Orrick came off worse and rattled himself against the barriers. He got back on track, although in so doing lost a whole heap of places. He wasn't the only one in strife either, heading down towards Cascades. Off into the gravel bed slithered Simon Rudd. Joe McMillan came through to score a first victory in the championship. Race 1 winner David Sutton followed him home. Howard Fuller rounding out the top 3. Confirmation of the round 2 results: McMillan, Sutton, Fuller for the podium. Aaron Mason 4th, Joe Fulbrook 5th ahead of Jack Walker-Talley, with Lee Allen and Phil House 7th and 8th. We're getting set then for race 3 of the weekend for the Miltech Sport Volkswagen Racing Cup. David Sutton is on pole position, this grid based on a driver's second best qualifying time. But it's a very busy grid and he's not going to have this race all his own way, that's for sure.
It's time for the final race of the day here in the Volkswagen Racing Cup at Oulton Park, and the sun has drenched the track. Conditions look sensational. But who's on pole? Well, he's been looking fast all weekend. It's David Sutton.
Down the pit lane though comes Damani Marcano, the youngest driver, the 16-year-old, and he's got a problem then. Hopefully he'll get into the race as we are set for 20 minutes. The green flag shown at the back means everybody is ready. Lights go red, lights out, bit of creeping from 1 or 2. Can David Sutton convert that pole position into the race lead? The cars blast down towards Old Hall. Sutton does lead from Fuller in 22. The rest of the pack swings its way through the right-hander. Are they all going to get round safely for the first time? So far, so good. Huge Easter crowds here at Oulton Park as the cars go down towards Cascades. David Sutton in the black Sirocco leads the pack. He won the first race on Saturday, but is he going to be able to do a double here? Everybody else filing their way now out of Cascades along Lakeside Straight for the first time. Howard Fuller looking for the lead, but also trying to fend off Lucas Orrick. Joe Fulbrook through ahead of Joe McMillan. Golf ahead of Sirocco there. McMillan the race 2 winner. The leaders turn their way through Shell. 33 Lucas Orrick in the white and red Sirocco looking for a way past Howard Fuller, but on the outside at Shell it doesn't pay off for him. The cars sprint their way now up towards Britain's. There, number 8, the white and red Sirocco, Aaron Mason, former champion, hugely successful driver in terms of race wins, and he's tucked up behind number 3, Phil House, in the green and silver Sirocco, himself a double champion back in the days when there were Beetles in the series. Down towards Hislops come the race leaders then. It's David Sutton ahead of Howard Fuller, but Fuller continuing his race 2 duel with Lucas Orrick. Those two together, and David Sutton, who really is struggling for budget this year, may not even have the funds to do the rest of the season. It could be a one-off weekend, and he's looking for another win here. He leads at the moment. Up Clay Hill, Jack Walker-Tully in the black and green Sirocco diving to the outside there. Up past the water tower towards Druids as you see Lucas Orrick turn through. Last year, his first very impressive season in car racing, and that will stand him in good stead with the lessons learnt for 2015. Down towards Lodge. David Sutton is getting away though up front. The Slide Sports run car starting to build its advantage as the rest of the pack now turn through Lodge. On board with Lucas Orrick. Over the timing line, down towards Old Hall. Doesn't change down, just a lift, sets the car up, back on the power now, up onto the curb on the outside of the road, and he's had a better run through Old Hall than has had Howard Fuller ahead of him. Orrick now has got close enough to make a move, but Howard Fuller defends the inside line going into Cascades. Golf versus Sirocco for second place here. Towards Island Bend they go, nose to tail those two. And as they turn now through the left at Island up towards Shell, David Sutton is still very much the man in charge, but Howard Fuller is having to work overtime to keep Lucas Orrick at bay. Fuller, number 22 in the Golf, still second, but only just. And again, the rather more svelte shape of the Sirocco is right up behind him, on board with Orrick. Down towards Britain's. Curb left, curb right, curb left, over hilltop. Orrick grabs a gear, but Oulton Park is not the widest of circuits, and therefore overtaking is not that easy. He's got to try and force a mistake out of Howard Fuller, and it doesn't come at Hislops, at least not this time. David Sutton still leading the way then from Fuller, from Orrick, and fourth is Phil House in the green and silver Sirocco. The power kicks in as the cars head up Clay Hill now. 2-litre turbo engines powering the cars. It has become the engine of choice really in the championship in this modern age. Again, it moves you on from the days of the 3.2-litre R32 Golfs, or the same engine in the Beetles. The race leaders come down towards Lodge Corner. Lucas Orrick has just dropped back ever so slightly, changed for fourth possible. Aaron Mason has a look at the inside of Phil House, but to no avail going into Lodge Corner. Couldn't find a way through. The two Siroccos running together. They drop back quite a long way from the leading trio, and Phil House is hanging on to the position. And we've got one or two drivers being penalised. Mason goes to the outside of House. He picks up fourth position going into Old Hall Corner. So Mason goes fourth, but Joe McMillan is one of the drivers being given a penalty for an out-of-position start. The blue Sirocco that won race 2, there it is, coming into shot in the background, has been given a penalty. Lee Allen goes through. He's ahead of Joe Fulbrook. Joe McMillan gets 10 seconds added to his race time. Mark Clines, I'm afraid to say, is out of the race. The Mancunian has stopped. He's going no further. 31 is Matthew Wilson there with his ultra-smart Golf, chasing on as he did in race 1, in fact, behind Phil Morris. Up towards Shell they come. Phil Morris turns his way through, and a big slide behind it. Simon Tomlinson's right-hand drive Golf that gets it wrong and spins itself onto the dirt. Once more, Shell Oil's corner catches out the unwary. Here's the replay. He's wrong coming into the corner. The nose digs into the dirt on the inside, brings more rubbish onto the road. Bit of damage to the grille, look at Simon Tomlinson's car. He'll be able to rejoin as here. Joe Fulbrook almost goes round the outside of Lee Allen. He can't make that move stick though as they work their way round Lodge. David Sutton is leading the way. Howard Fuller is second, and he's on his own. What has happened to Lucas Orrick? Fulbrook to the inside of Lee Allen, diving into Oulton. He's done it, he's made the move. Joe Fulbrook goes through, and a friendly wave even there to acknowledge that Lee Allen gave him racing room. Here's the replay of it, just have a look through the rear window. Thanks mate, says Joe Fulbrook. Lee Allen, new to the championship, but certainly no stranger to car racing, didn't make that too difficult for him. Lee's already been in action in the Brick Car Trophy this year, former mini racer, former fast forward champion, and beached in the gravel at Shell. That's 55 Simon Deaton, former Subaru Impreza racer, but he wishes he had four-wheel drive to dig himself out of there. Joe Fulbrook in the meantime comes down to his lots and he sees in his mirrors Lee Allen under attack from Jack Walker-Tully. The two of them together, the front of JWT's car there you can see is a bit battered, the front valance dragging on the ground, but Jack Walker-Tully powers uphill. Joe McMillan is behind them, but even if he gains places, when you stick the 10 seconds onto his race time, he'll fall back down the order. Joe Fulbrook, the reigning champion, has had by his standards a really frustrating weekend. He's never looked to have had the pace across the 3 races that you would anticipate. Maybe we're seeing that this is very much a Sirocco circuit, but Joe Fulbrook normally can wring everything out of that Golf, but here he struggled a bit. Simon Deaton trudges away. That semaphore means this will need a tow. Jack Walker-Tully's car looking ever more dog-eared as he dives down through Old Hall Corner. There is Joe McMillan behind him, the blue Sirocco, the race 2 winner. But he also has struggled for pace in race 3. He's never been able to carve his way up the order. Gaps opened up in this early on, and he is one driver who's struggled to make up the lost ground. A drama heading into Old Hall. Mark Smith goes off in the orange Sirocco, one of the old Sirocco R Cup cars from the DTM support programme. Paul de Hadre has gone with him. Both of them in the tyre stack. Can they get out from there? Well, Paul de Hadre, dragging the remains with him, is going to be able to set off. They're strong cars, Siroccos, you know. De Hadre's door opens, but he's going to get back on track, and Mark Smith goes with him. David Sutton, in the meantime, is looking good for a race win. He's on his last lap, and although Howard Fuller has closed, it could well be too little too late for him. David Sutton has laid down a marker this weekend that he's going to be hard to beat in the championship on pace, assuming that he can find some sponsorship to get into the next 3 races at Rockingham. It is backhand to mouth for David Sutton. It could be that this is just a blip as far as the opposition is concerned. David Sutton comes in, wins, and then they don't see him again. David Sutton desperately hopes that he's on the grid for the rest of the year, because you're looking at a potential champion on pure pace. The one-time Formula Renault racer comes out of dear lead. David Sutton makes it 2 wins from 3 races at Oulton Park. He comes across the line to win from Howard Fuller. The gap at the flag just 7/10 of a second. Lucas Orrick comes through for 3rd place, a rather distant 3rd in the end in his Sirocco. So David Sutton takes 2 victories at Oulton Park this weekend, both of them convincing victories as well, and the opposition left scratching its collective head as to exactly how to equal his pace. Lower down the order, Jack Walker-Tully there, set for 8th place, and Joe McMillan behind him on the road. Let's just see where he ends up, because Bobby Thompson is not that far behind him. Joe McMillan completes his race, 9th on the road, 10th on corrected times. So David Sutton takes a 2nd victory of the weekend, Howard Fuller 2nd, and Lucas Orrick comes home in 3rd.
It was a really tough race. Howard was pushing me all the way. It was qualifying lap after qualifying lap, but the car held up perfectly and we managed to win. The weekend's been great, and everybody at the Sly Sports teams put so much effort in, and the car's been perfect.
The pace today was really good, very fast, and the racing was great. You know, we had some strong battles throughout the whole weekend. That last race probably looks a little bit boring, but I tell you, like, me and David were pushing hard, trading fastest laps throughout the whole for the whole race there. So happy with the result.
So what does all this do to the championship? David Sutton has the advantage, Howard Fuller 2nd, but only 4 points up on Aaron Mason. Joe McMillan, after his 1 win, is 4th, 2 points ahead of Lucas Orrick, who is 2 points up on Joe Fulbrook, the reigning champion, only 6th after a really difficult weekend. How much we'll see of David Sutton in the championship this year is as yet unclear, but for now, he's certainly celebrating in style.
And as the champagne flows, I think it's fair to say we have witnessed 3 terrific races here at Oulton Park. Isn't it good to have the Volkswagen Racing Cup back? Brilliant stuff. What's next for the teams? Well, a very short break, and then we move on to Rockingham. We'll see you there.